Thank you so much. And like again, I say thank you to everyone that is with us tonight. Today we're going to continue the series Treasure Hunting 301, and especially Greg Halloway is going to talk about the guineas tonight. So with that said, Greg, you can take it now.
Okay. Thank you all for listening. I enjoy the opportunity to be able to speak to you. If you have any questions, please let me know after the end of the discussion. Also, if anyone has some specific questions that aren't appropriate for open discussion, if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, I make myself available for a few minutes after the seminar. So please type in that you'd like that, and we can have a discussion afterwards. In a series that I started 2 weeks ago, discussing all the different types of coins that I'm buying so that you can have a better understanding of what it is that I'm looking for. As far as what's taking place in the world with the gold price, it has bounced back up a bit to over 1,600. There seems to be a trading range now from the mid-1500s to the mid-1600s that gold has been trading in for some time now, for a number of months. I don't really see any specific information that's taking place that's causing it to move throughout this trading range. So the only guidance I can offer folks is short-term diagnosing the market movements of gold is very, very difficult, to say the least, because the market is driven by emotions rather than fundamentals. What do I mean by that? Well, a world event could be taking place that might cause gold to go up today, or it might cause gold to go down today. It's dependent on the various buyers and sellers around the world analyzing the data that takes place from moment to moment and deciding what to do. That's not how you want to be looking at gold. Do not look at it as a short-term, day-to-day investment vehicle, because trying to predict which way it's going to go from day to day is really impossible. But the long-term movement of gold is very easy to predict because of the fact that gold moves in the same direction as the amount of dollars being printed. The more dollars being printed, the higher the price goes. So as a result, it's very easy to project the long-term movements of gold, and it's a very safe projection because we know that the government is going to continue to printing more money regardless of who is running the government. Since that is the future, we are pretty much guaranteed that the price is going to go up, and it has actually done so for the last 11 straight years. These last 11 years have been a time period of rapid expansion of our national debt, so the price of gold is going up to mirror that. But it's not just the United States that's doing this. The whole world is spending more money than it takes in, which begets the question is, where is all this money coming from to support all these out-of-balance budgets around the world? And the answer is it's not coming from anywhere. It's just going to be printed. So ultimately, this is inflationary, and the price of gold goes up. So the short-term movements are irrelevant. Long-term gold has to go up. I'm simply reporting to you what's taking place in the short term so you have an understanding. Now, in the series that I have begun 2 weeks ago, again, I'm discussing all the different types of coins that I've decided to focus on. One of my favorites is the 5 guineas. Now, lest I get everybody excited on the phone tonight, I want to start the discussion by telling you that we don't have a single one. Now, these are great coins, and I want to build a collection of them, but they're also quite rare and also very difficult to find. Now, what is a 5 guineas? Well, it is the largest coin that was ever made by Great Britain. It's actually the largest coin in the world. It is called the King of Coins, and it is a very desirable piece that collectors all over the world desire. As you can see here from this photograph, this is a particularly beautiful piece from 1770 that was made to honor King George III. There are only about half a dozen of these known to exist. I do not have one yet for the Goldmark collection, and we are actively seeking one. It would be a great addition to the collection if I could find one, but I have not been able to do so because there has not been one on the open market in many years now. So the King of Coins is the 5 guineas. It is considered as such due to its size, as I mentioned. It's 3 ounces of gold, the largest gold coin ever made in the world on a regular basis. It's also the first machine-made gold coin ever made. They were first made in the 1660s. Here you see a photo of an original steam-powered press from that time frame. These coins were made from these primitive presses, but they are high in their artistic quality. There's nothing about them that you would look at and say the minting process was crude. The artisans of the day knew what they had to work with and were able to create wonderful masterpieces of art using the best technology that existed. As I said, Guineas is the largest regularly issued gold coin in the world. Many countries have made gold coins, but there's only 4 countries in the world that ever made a large gold coin. They are the United States, the Spanish Empire, France, and Great Britain. Of the 4, Great Britain made the largest one, the 5 guineas. Statistics are, again, as you see here, it's 2 ounces of gold. The total weight is 1.35 ounces. That's because it's only 917 fine gold. The rest is copper. Now, why is copper added into it? Well, copper is added into it to make it stronger, to make it more durable. If anybody has ever handled a pure gold coin or a pure piece of gold jewelry, you can actually bend it in your hands, even though it might be fairly thick. Despite the fact that gold has numerous great qualities, it does not tarnish, does not rust, it retains its brilliance forever. Gold is a very soft metal and is fairly easily moved around or bent. As a matter of fact, gold can be hammered out in sheets so thin that it can be almost transparent when it's done so. If you've ever seen some of the great works of art or great cathedrals that are finished out in gold plating, you'll see this done. When I toured the Louvre in Paris, I noticed that over all the doors in the woodwork and around the ceilings, it all appeared to be gold colored. So I asked one of the tour guides working there, is that actually gold leaf, meaning real gold that's pounded out thin, or is it just gold paint? And they said, no, it's actually gold leaf. So gold has that physical property that makes it able to be hammered out in very, very thin layers. The 5 guineas was made from 1668 and is still being made today. So it has 350 years of history under its belt, making it one of the longest coin series in the world. If you go on the website for the Royal Mint, you can buy one today. Now, if you do that, you won't find 5 guineas listed there. You'll see it's called 5 pounds. That's because the name was changed from guineas to pounds in 1820. It's still the same denomination, but just the name was changed. The King of 5 Guineas is the coin you're looking at here, the Edward VIII specimen. Now, this is actually a 5 pound. Again, the name was changed from guinea to pound in 1820. The reason why this particular piece is so important is not actually anything to do with the design, because the design is nothing unusual. The reverse design of St. George and the Dragon was used continuously from 1887 all the way through to
I'm sorry, folks. I guess I lost Greg here, communication with Greg. If you can give me just a second, I'm going to try to get him back again on the line. Hello, folks. We're right back. I got Greg on the line with me. Greg?
Yes, I don't know what happened, but everything this happened last night. To know what's causing it. I apologize for that. Wish I knew what's doing it, but it just suddenly dropped dead right in the middle. I was explaining to you the significance of this particular coin, the 1937 5 pounds. What makes this coin exotic or rare? It's not the design. What makes it rare is the fact that it was made for the abdicated king, Edward VIII. He only remained king for 1 month. So as a result, there is only one 5 pounds from 1937 known to exist, the one you're looking at. So that's, of course, a major rarity. This coin sold for about $1.5 million within the past year, making it the most valuable of all coins from Great Britain and one of the most valuable coins of Europe. So that's not hard to understand, a value like that. Actually, I think it's quite reasonable, and I wish that we had had the chance to buy it. We didn't. I missed out on it. If this was an American coin of this magnitude and rarity, it would be worth $20 million. So $1.5 million is actually a pretty good deal by comparison. Here's one of the early 5 guineas from 1668. This is actually the very first one made. As I mentioned, it's one of the world's oldest series of coins made for about 350 years. This particularly beautiful piece was made for King Charles II, and it has the emperor, as he thought of himself, adorned with what looks like leaves around his head. Well, the rulers of Great Britain thought of themselves as emperors and took that concept of design from the ancient Romans who were called emperors, and they used these olive branches as a way of signaling royalty. The 5 guinea chronicles the history of the British Empire. As many of you probably know, the British Empire controlled approximately a quarter of the population of the world at one time. So there are a lot of collectors around the globe who only have the option of collecting British coins if they're interested in coin collecting, because their homeland country was a part of the British Empire at one point, and most of the coinage was made through the original empire, not through the local country. For instance, Australia has made coins of its own since achieving independence from Great Britain, but the really desirable coins from Australia are those that were minted during the time that Australia was part of the British Empire. Now, interestingly enough, not everybody knows this. Despite the fact that the British Empire has now long since been broken up, it still exists within a framework of cooperation. That's called the British Commonwealth. And there are a large number of countries that form the British Commonwealth, almost as many as what existed when they were part of the British Empire. These coins from around the world are still being made with the portrait of the current ruler, who in this case would be Queen Elizabeth II. So in Canada, for instance, even though it's an independent country, it still has a political alignment with Great Britain and still considers itself part of the British Commonwealth. And that is the reason why if you go to Canada, you'll see all their currency and all their coins bear the portrait of Elizabeth II. Again, the 5 guineas chronicles the history of the British Empire, especially as it relates to the Britain's search for gold. The empire wasn't just about conquering land masses, it was about conquering gold. Gold was the most important element of success in the colonial world, and the ones that drove the major country explosives. For instance, noticed in the previous coin, but here we have again an example. This particular piece was made for the rulers of William and Mary. Now, if you look underneath the bust of the king, you see an elephant with a crown over it. That is a hallmark. That is the hallmark for the Royal African Company that was established by King Charles II in 1668. The purpose of the Royal African Company was to mine gold in various countries of Africa and bring it back to England. So the Brits made no bones about using their coinage to trumpet their political aspirations. Long before there was media, long before there were newspapers, even long before there was the printing press, the first advertising medium was rare coins, was coins. that advertising was carried out on coins because there was no other effective way to carry your message to the masses. There was only coins. So when you look at a piece like this, you see the opportunity that was utilized by the empire to broadcast its message. And the message was that we are the big boys on the block. We are the ones to be respected and honored. We are the kings of the world. And they did that by showing their dominance over Africa by placing the symbol of Africa, the elephant, with a crown on top of it underneath the bust of the king. That was intended to symbolize the power of Great Britain over the conquered Africa. Certainly not a politically correct statement as we might look at today, but you have to understand during these times there was no such thing as political correctness. It was everything about ego and power and who was the most feared and respected. Great Britain was after global conquest. Let's face it, it was the biggest empire in world history. None others ever came close. Here is another example of this. This is one of the famous coins of the 5 guinea series and one of the most famous coins in the world. It is the 1703 Queen Anne Vigo 5 guineas. This is the major rarity of the 5 guinea series. There are only 4 known to exist, making it the ultimate in mega rarities. This is not currently in the Golden Art collection. I'm actively seeking one, but the last sale of one was 5 years ago, and it brought over $400,000 then. Since then, the market has climbed considerably, so it would be quite a bit more than that now if we were able to find one. Now, this particular piece is historically significant because it represents the victory of Great Britain against the Spanish Empire. There was a rivalry going on between Great Britain and Spain at this time as to who would build the biggest colonial empire. The two countries waged a bitter war for many years as to see who would be the biggest and baddest on the block, and they both were after conquering countries where there might be gold. The Spaniards set off sail for all over South America in a hunt for gold. They even financed Christopher Columbus's voyage to America. That was not for some noble vision of trying to find the new world. It was to find gold. That was the bottom line of it. Well, Vigo, you see, is written in big letters under the bust of Queen Anne. Now, Vigo is a city in Spain. So why is a Spanish city on the front of an English coin, especially during a time when they're bitter enemies? Well, the reason why is because Great Britain attacked Vigo because it was known that the Spanish were using that as their harbor to collect all the gold that they had conquered from their trips abroad, mostly to South America. So the Britons figured they would strike Spain at its heart, where they were collecting their gold from their seafaring trips to South America, and the British were successful at their battle and captured several shiploads full of gold and silver at the port of Vigo. This gold and silver was turned around and minted into coins. We do not have the Vigo gold piece yet, but we do have the Vigo silver crown, which is an extremely important piece for our collection. So both in gold and silver, coins were made with the Vigo notation on it. There are more. The Indy was formed in the early 1700s by George II to control India. That's how Great Britain monitored its conquest. It formed companies to exercise control on behalf of the Crown of England. So the job of the East India Company was to bring both slaves and gold back to England. It has been said in history that the conquest of both India and Africa's gold was so significant that it is the reason why London became the international powerhouse financial center that it did. Without these gold conquests, London would have never reached the important, significant place that it became. And today, it may have, it could conceivably have been a nothing place if it was not for these conquests. So we don't really appreciate how London became the economic powerhouse and financial center of a large part of the world. It's certainly the financial center of Europe if it had not been for these conquests. So the East India Company was formed to control India by George II, and that's identified by the initials EIC under his. Following in the footsteps of the attack by Great Britain upon Vigo, a similar attack was launched against Lima. Now, Lima is a city in South America and Peru. As I mentioned, the Spanish went after South America as their goal in trying to colonize the world. Great Britain was successful in North America. Of course, the United States, as you know, emanates from the former colonies that once were part of Great Britain. In addition to that, Great Britain colonized large parts of Africa, India, and the Far East. But South America remained elusive for Great Britain. Great Britain did not have a foothold in any significant place in South America. Yes, they had some small areas such as the Falkland Islands, but they did not have a major foothold in South America, which Spain had managed to accomplish. So this again sparked a rivalry between the two nations, and again was the reason why there was a second battle between Great Britain and Spain in the attempt to take over Lima, Peru. Again, Great Britain was successful and brought gold back to the homeland country and made coins with Lima stamped underneath the bust of the king. We do have this piece and the previous one from the East India Company in the gold in our collection. These are great coins that showcase history of the British Empire. They also, again, showcase history of the modernization of communications because, as I mentioned, coins were the very first means of mass communication or advertising. Guineas, or later called the 5 pounds, was made for commerce all the way up until 1902. All the way until that time, these were used in the actual day-to-day buying and selling of goods and services. That changed, and after 1902, they were only made as presentation pieces for either royalty or collectors. So 1902 is the last year for commerce. The 5 guineas, 5 pounds, can still be bought today, as I mentioned, from the Royal Mint website, because these are only available to collectors today. They are not any longer being made for commerce. So you can buy these on the Royal Mint website approximately a 40% premium over the gold price. I'm not promoting this as a investment concept because the modern coins have limited appeal. Collectors are mostly interested in the ones that were made from the 1930s and back. The reason for that date in history as being an important dividing point between what collectors want and what collectors don't really want is because that's the time when the U.S. and then the world followed suit, went off the gold standard. So those coins made prior to that time frame were actually made for commerce, whereas the ones made after that were made simply by mints trying to cash in on the increasing number of collectors in the world and making essentially limited edition collector's items. And the true specialists, the true expert collectors recognize that this stuff is not that interesting, that they want the true rare coins, not a manufactured or created rarity. Now, some guineas were made strictly for circulation, and some were made strictly for presentation pieces. This particular coin is a masterpiece of artistic workmanship that was created in 1839 for the coronation celebration of Queen Victoria. It's called Una and the Lion, and you see there on the reverse of the coin the young queen walking with a lion. Now, at that time, Queen Victoria was very young. She was only around 20 years old, and the lion walking with her is said to be in that position to protect her innocence, if you will, protect the fact that she was just a very young woman, and to be there to guard her as she took over ruling the British Empire. It was during the reign of Queen Victoria that the British Empire hit its zenith of power, so she definitely was a very important person in history and one of the most popular areas to collect in all eras of coinage. So this particular piece is a beautiful work of art, and it's one of the most popular rare coins worldwide, not just in the United States, not just in Great Britain, but all over the world. The Asians love them because of their size and beauty, so it's a great work of art, and it was made only in a presentation finish called proof. Proof coins are specially made coins. They're struck twice instead of the normal one time, and the dies are also heavily polished. So therefore, when the coin is made, it comes with this reflective field. That's only able to be recognized in the photo that you see by the black background. In real life, if you were holding this coin in front of you, the black background would look like a mirror, and you could actually see yourself in it. So that's what makes this a masterpiece of workmanship. Here is another work of art from 1688. This 5 guineas again shows the hallmark that was created by Charles II with the African elephant perched on top by a crown, showing again the domination of Great Britain over Africa. This coin, one 5 guineas, is one of my favorites because the condition is incredible. It is a part of the Golden Art collection, and it's got a fabulous finish that is mirror-like and reflective. That's highly unusual for a coin of this era. The condition of this is near flawless from over 300 years ago. What a great work of art this is, one of my all-time favorite coins. It's really interesting because it's a one-sided coin. How many of those have you ever seen? This coin was made to show the king, King George IV, and legend has it is that it was designed with just the one side so that the king did not have to turn it over, because there was another coin made showing just the reverse. So that way it could be shown to the king so he wouldn't have the arduous task of having to pick it up and turn it over. That might sound ridiculous, but as you study the kings and queens of England, you begin to realize that absolute power has driven some of these people virtually to madness. This is a fabulous mega rarity in that it's the ultimate in rarity. It is the only one known to exist. It is unique, which is the same as saying only one known to exist, and it is a part of the Golden Art collection. Just so you know and understand value, it's worth about $250,000. If there was an American coin of comparable rarity, it would be worth 10 to 20 times that amount. So this is a great deal when compared to the American series. As I've been explaining, the 5 guineas is great. And what's best about it is that you can get great rarity at a great discount. Now, it's the cornerstone, world's best collection. If the only thing we had money for allowed us to buy 5 guineas, then I would focus on them solely. But we can't buy enough of them. It's just not possible. The owners of them typically do not want to sell, so we can only find about 5 to 10 5 guineas per year. That's not many coins. And that's with myself and a team of experts that have been working with me for decades, continually combing coin shows and auctions and dealer stores all over the globe, and that's all we can find is about 5 to 10 per year with an unlimited budget to go find them. So I encourage you to consider this the next time I can find one, because of the fact that it is on the top of everyone's list. They are fabulous pieces, and we're only slowed down by our desire to build a collection of them by the availability. Now, why is the availability so little? It's because people recognize them as a bargain, and they just don't want to sell them any more than you would once you acquire one. Okay, let's open it up for questions, and here are upcoming holiday breaks.
Thank you, Greg, for that lovely webinar here. And as we're going to give him a break here, you guys can put up your questions in the question areas where you guys sign in at, when you came in. We got upcoming webinars, holiday breaks, which is September the 3rd and the 4th, which is Labor Day, and then November the 26th and the 27th, Thanksgiving. Now, we're giving out those dates, even though we can see it's far, but we're already in the last day of July, so it's actually half of the year. It's already gone, folks, and we're just looking out for those holiday breaks. And let me give you a little bit of announcements here. Monday nights at 8 p.m. is the Investor Education webinars, and Tuesdays at 6 p.m., like today, it's Advanced Gold webinars. You have our phone number to contact us, and also if you need recordings of any of the webinars that we have done, you also can send us an email to the webinars at bellsouth.net, or go to Christian Financial Concept.com, and I've been posting every single webinar there. It's a free membership. All you got to do is log in and create your own password. And that's so easy. You can create your own password. It's free, and you can visit them, back and forth as many times you please. You can play the webinar right there on the server, or you can download it to your computer, either or. But it's a great tool to to see what's going on and help you out with this process. Also, there is a contest. We have a attendance contest, and for those that first-time listeners, we do that to actually promote being in our webinars Mondays and Tuesdays, and that's rewarded a US $20 gold certificate, which is not much. You would say it's not much, but it's actually valued $200 at this time. And it's a true gold certificate. So that's a great thing to have for the person that actually most attended the webinars in every given month. Let me go to questioning now. Let me see if we have any questions here posted. I have one from Susan, Greg, that he says, is there any way to find a certain coin other than at coin shows or sales?
We hunt in the following places: coin shows, auctions, dealer stores, and individuals that we know. For instance, I know one individual that has a fabulous collection of great pieces that I'd love to buy, and it's something that we'll probably have to wait until he passes away, because he has no heirs, so it's something that the estate will probably sell. Well, the estate will sell once he passes away because he has no heirs, but while he's alive, he doesn't want to sell it. So the great coins really don't come on the market unless somebody passes away, so that makes it very challenging to find them. I found them in all over the place. I've had to go to remote country fairs and auctions sometimes, literally in the middle of nowhere, trying to hunt down these things, and even that can be very untruthful. I've traveled as much as 1,000 miles to go to a coin show without buying a single piece.
Okay, and I testify on that because from the office here, we tried to call him, and he was always traveling. So he does travel a lot to get these rare coins. Also, Patricia has a question here. Have you found many of the Una and the Lion proof sets?
Since we started hunting a number of years ago, we found a grand total of 3 of them, which is, I'm quite happy with that accomplishment. So that is a goal, to buy as many of the really nice ones as we possibly can.
Okay. I don't see any more questions coming along. Again, you can ask any question from this webinar or from previous webinars, or any general questions since Greg is on the line with us. Also, if you would like to talk to him on one-on-one, you can always call the office, and we try to set up the time and appointment to talk to him. That way, you don't have to wait, and it will be a way to communicate. So far, I haven't seen any more questions in the panel, Greg. I know it's still it's about 12 minutes to the top of the hour. We kind of wrap it up this early. But if you have any final words, Greg?
Well, yes, don't forget that I am available if anybody would like to speak after the webinar is over, if you have any specific one-on-one questions. So type that in if you'd like. And I do thank you and appreciate all of you for listening. It would be pretty boring if just Pete and myself were talking about this. So I enjoy the opportunity to speak to you, and look forward to the opportunity to do so again next week. But don't forget that Tom and I are available during the week for further consultation. You don't have to wait until the Tuesday night webinar. So thank you all for listening, and have a good night.
Well, Greg, since you were talking, 2 more questions came in on the panel here. Let me go ahead and take care of that. Martin says, where can we view the historical evidence of prices of rare coins going up in the Depression?
The only evidence that exists of that is if you want to do some research on the following name: Max, M-A-X, second word, Meal, M-E-H-L, M-E-H-L. Max Meal was the largest coin dealer in the world at the time of the Great Depression, and he boasted of how well his coin auctions were doing with the prices realized during the Great Depression. So that's the only evidence we have of the market moving up during the Great Depression. Obviously, technology is much better today than it was then, so we don't have detailed analysis available. All we have is empirical evidence to show that.
Okay. I have actually a request from Patricia, more than a question. Well, it's a question and a also. She says that sometime back, you show a webinar, with coins that the Golden Art Collection have purchased and how much they have going up in value. She's asking, any plans to do that again?
Yeah, I should do that again. Thank you for the suggestion, and I'll put that in my list of future webinars to work on creating.
Excellent. And let me add to that. It's this series goes all the way to 701, I believe, Greg?
That's right.
Okay. So we still have a few more webinars on this different topics every Tuesday. But again, if you would like the recording of the previous ones, we have it available just by calling in. I don't see any more questions in the panel, Greg. So I think it's been well explained tonight. And again, thank you so much for taking the time and being with us. I know it's a different time zone, and communication wise, sometimes the words are not coming through clearly as we used to, but he's very far away. So and I thank you so much for taking the time and being with us again. So with that said, thank you very much for everyone attending tonight. If you have any questions, again, just send us an email or call us here in the office. And take care now, and God bless you all.
God bless. Good night.